cast some StarCraft 2 here as we continue through these matches. To the top left-hand side, the red Terran player. This is TY from Splice. In this TVP best of 5, his prowess opponent, we just saw him taking down Solar 2-0. We have got Classic in the bottom right-hand side. So, TVP lately has been a whole mix of aggression out of Terran players. We've seen time and time again these very aggressive pushes from Terrans. Two base plays really, two base plays over and over again, and all of that good stuff as we do see the racks dropping down in the front. And TY going to open with the Proxy Drax here to start off. Now, this is not always going to be super aggressive. It could just be a good way to get an expansion up at home behind the factory or so. As we get this setting up, a couple of refineries dropping down in the main base and getting this started off. Sub Lazy Sapien coming in with the gifted sub to Bradfirst134. Thank you so much for gifting out a sub, and welcome Bradfirst to the Wardy family as well, as we just kick this off. As the probe from Classic going to be heading up towards the upper left-hand side. And Classic going to be coming in. Is about to expand, but we'll see the lack of Iraqs, and we'll see if that changes his mind. He'll throw down the Cybercorp to begin with instead. Probably still will expand here quickly. Just wants to prioritize that Cybercorp, because still the few extra seconds towards a Stalker, Adept, etc. can go a long, long way, as we have this SCV of TY just going to scout into the main base now. And we'll see, okay, Cybercore coming down before the Nexus. So gets to see that, at least gets to figure that out. And there again is the factory from TY now dropping over in the main. Prober Classic nibbles away, and SCV is going to be taking a couple shots of damage. Zealot from Classic coming out and just going to be coming over to chase that SCV down as Adept being chrono boosted. The Reaper comes in from TY. Is going to try and get a grenade off and is going to bop a few probes around. Ooh, doesn't get that first one as it goes into the assimilator, but we'll get it as it comes out. So one probe already, second Reaper on the way in the factory back at home. TY getting that set up to go. So the factory coming in on the top side, we're going to see a tech lab is building as well. And we are going to be seeing this SCV of TY going to be heading up towards the upper side. Reaper just going to be nibbling its way through the pylon. Picking its way through this as the Adept coming over as well is going to be shading in towards the main and is trying to hunt down the Reaper. So Reaper trying to take a little bit of damage. We see the Zealot and the Adept. Ooh, and a little bit of a fight again. But Reaper is just going to get away. And again, so the double Reaper. Rax flies home. CC starts on the low ground now. Only a probe to really deny that from happening as the Cyclone comes up off the factory and choosing to go into that starport as well. Meanwhile, Classic ops into the Stargate here, so jumping in towards that Stargate, and again the Reaper of TY heading in towards the upper side. So two Reapers and a Cyclone going to be hanging out together and getting that set to go. So two Reapers and a Cyclone going to be together here. The Liberator on the way up as well, and there's that Oracle currently also just chrono boosting out. Command Center will be starting to morph in towards an orbital command right here, so he's getting that set to go, and Oracle again being chrono boosted. So Rex dropping on down, so all this bio play setup getting going. Again, the first Oracle of Classic going to start moving forwards here and probably will move in towards the main. I shut down those. Cyclone locks on the Liberator, able to help kill that. That's a complete... I mean, that Oracle just did nothing, actually. Great defense by TY. As you are going to be seeing the two Cyclones just hanging out underneath the Liberator now, and the Viking starting to be produced as well. So getting that up, as you see the Phoenix is about to pop up from the Stargate. And we see those Warp Gates finishing up in the main. Third Nexus dropping down from Classic here. So getting that third Nexus up and rolling. As we have got again the Oracle heading up towards the top side. So Oracle scouting around, going to be coming in towards the natural. A couple of Cyclones going to come in, locks on, and again the Oracle chased off pretty easily. with the Twilight Council and the Forge coming in from Classic as well. So getting that set up to go, and this Reaper from TY going to reposition back towards the middle of the map. Another supply depot coming down here from TY, so just getting that up. And there's combat shields dropping down too. And all of these tech structures coming in right now from Classic. Oracle coming down the right side, and again just going to be seeing these upgrades starting / finishing on each side of the map. Combat shields first means that, well, usually you go combat shields first if you want to go for a very aggressive push, and I guess that's what this is. These Cyclones, Marines, and tanks. The reason for the combat shields first being the fact that that it's very important to kind of get that upgrade finished ASAP, and combat shields finishes faster than stim. And because you don't have medivacs, the stim is actually very harmful to the Marines. So the extra health on them alone is maybe a much better benefit than stim, which obviously does a lot, but you can only really stim them once, which is a little bit rough. As we do have the units coming down to the bottom side, scans into the natural expansion. As we're going to be seeing, the stasis ward there is going to get picked off pretty quick. So, I mean, TY has, he's going straight for the third base as well. Not going to mess around with the natural. Oracle at home is dealt with by these Marines, and Classic, for some reason, turned back around. That was painful as bunkers are setting up. A Liberator now in the natural expansion as well. The Classic's being pulled all over the place. TY doing a fantastic job to begin with here. Tank's going to continue coming forward. So, oh my god, those sentries taking a beating. I mean, the force fields don't really do much at all, apart from, I guess, zoning these units out for a little bit. Obviously, I guess time is important here to try and keep the third base alive. Finally, that Liberator dealt with, but 13 probes killed. So much damage from the Liberators. Again, TY, his push will continue on this Nexus, and this Nexus looking as though it's going to fall. So Nexus will drop down here. The Pylon getting locked onto by those couple of Cyclones as well, and the Pylon also going to drop down now. Cyclone falling, and again the rest of the army from Classic coming back towards the upper side of the map. There's those couple of Stalkers going to reposition back over, and this SCV going to get picked off. Classic going to counterattack straight up, but I mean there's a good amount of bio here. Good first force fields though, and well, TY will not be able to pick those up for a little while. Made a couple of mistakes. Bringing the rest of his army back here, TY. Obviously, again, doesn't have the sim to fight this, which is usually what you rely on in bio versus gateway fights to be very powerful. Cyclones trying to move back up into the natural as well. The rest of the army coming over. I feel like Classic just won't get enough done with this, especially if the units coming in from the other side now. I mean, the sentry gets left behind here as the Stalkers blink backwards. Classic just doesn't really make up for the fact that he lost a third base, and TY's third base is looking fine. Maybe if Classic had pushed into the third location, he would have been able to get this CC, but then he would have had to fight anyways. Because the army would have come down to defend it, right? So, I guess just no real winning in that sort of scenario as TY turns, pushes a couple of Stalkers back out into the middle, and another set of Stalkers warping in. But this is like pure Stalker right now from Classic, so it's not really a composition that's going to be viable going through here, as we are going to be seeing the Stalkers coming up the left side. A couple of tanks, well, blinked on top of. I mean, that third base in general is in a bit of trouble with this many Stalkers, but I mean, the bio should be able to fight this pretty easily, because there's a point where enough bio just fights Stalkers very easily. And I think we should be at that point, but maybe not. As we see, the bio has to back away, and the third CC is actually going to go down. Oh my god, Classic with the pure Stalker force is somewhat making this work here. As tank falls back and Observer goes down as it flies in. Widowmine drop going across the map. And Widowmines aren't the best against Stalkers, because Stalkers can just sort of blink away from them usually. So it is probably better to try and get some damage done here as he flies straight in. The Widowmines burrowing. That's an entire mineral line that's going to get blown up right now. 10, 13 workers killed, and one more Widowmine burrows. The Stalkers blink out at the main. Last Widowmine shot actually kills a Stalker and another probe as well. 3 Widowmines load up. The medivac has boost to get away as well, with some health left on it. Classic losing those 14 probes hurts, as TY still does not have a third base. Lost a couple of structures here, a couple of add-ons. Stalker's still getting SCVs that are trying to mine from the low ground. Classic third Nexus is now on the way back up, and obviously with the way that these bases have been picked off and so on, this is making this a very, very awkward little situation, all said and done. Stalker's back into the middle. This is the bottom right. A Marine from TY is going to be able to come in, and Adept is going to pick that Marine off. Stalker's sat out the front. Dude, this guy needs to get out of the games. This is the second time he's lagged out today. Ay, ay, ay. At least I didn't lag out during the game, guys. That's actually one of the good things that happened for me. We lagged out between games. We were out of game when it happened, so it's something at least. Do 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 do. I mean, Classic is still in a lot of trouble here. I think overall the TY army should still push and have a good time, but it's difficult to push against the Blink Stalkers, so there's definitely a world in which you can apply a good amount of pressure right now as TY. As long as you can get across the map, like, it's just those Stalkers will make it difficult, but probably not impossible. There we go, our player lags out. You can see a bit of bio from TY stimming forwards, a few Widow Mines coming in as well. All of this bio of TY coming down through the center of the map. Stalkers are going ahead around the right-hand side. You see +1 armor and charge currently on the way up on the main base. Those Stalkers will have to be a little bit careful. Widow Mines, one of them goes down, two of them go down. Again, just needs the bio leading the Widow Mines, not the other way around. The issue is, again, though, those Stalkers can look to counterattack here, and that's very dangerous. We see TY paying some good attention. We'll grab one Stalker, but it costs him a stim, and his medivacs are going to be out of energy soon. The Stalkers can maybe blink away and recall out as well if they feel like they can't take a fight and if they feel like they're getting cornered. And TY will pull back away. One of those situations where it's like these rocks going down could actually be important. We've never seen that, I don't think, on Parasite. I haven't seen that anyways. There's a set of rocks that you just never really think about. Stalkers might be looking for a medivac on the tail end, but they'll blink back up to the top. I mean, if you take a fight right now with Stalkers across the map, you're pretty much sacrificing the base down here and the army that's there as well. I just don't think these Stalkers have the longevity to really take those sort of fights. Stalkers do not have Observer backup either, so Widow Mine has to be cautious. Has to be cautious of the Widow Mine. Will go off though and gets a couple of good connections. A little bit of bio down here as pressing in as well. Is TY just going to pull all the way back though? I mean, he flowed his main base down to the third, so he has essentially a third base of mining going on. A little bit of bio around the side, and well, Stalker's already taken a little bit of damage. TY going to stim down the left as well. And the Stalker's going to continue pulling back down through the middle of the map. A couple more Liberators on the way out. Templar Archive starting a Ghost Academy from TY2. I mean, if you go Ghost Academy, usually you make 2 or 3 Ghosts and you just get the EMPs and you go for a bit of an SCV pull. Whether that's going to be the case here or not, well, that remains to be seen. As you see the Liberators coming over, pushing that Prism away over to the left-hand side. And Prism pushed away relatively easily there. So Prism pushed back. Another scan on the bottom right as Classic's army is moving out once again. Honestly, his army is impressive considering the way this game has gone. From what was just pure Stalkers, now he's got some sentries and so on mixed in too. But those EMPs are going to be great against it. You hit EMPs across the sentries, you hit them on the Immortals, and this army will melt in a few seconds after that as well. As we are going to be seeing as Bioforce of TY pressing forwards into the middle of the map. The units here from Classic going up the right-hand side. And again, those Ghosts of TY just coming down to see what's up. Stalkers able to pick off that one Marine. And again, those Liberators of TY coming over too. There's the Medivac, the War Prism of Classic loaded up with High Templar. Storm about to be available. Obviously could be a bit of a game changer here in this. Mr. Classic back over to the right. Liberators getting sieged up. And again, the few Ghosts from TY going to be leading the charge down. As we have got Classic coming over. And, well, Ghosts could maybe turn around and hit those EMPs like we're talking about. Hits the Immortals. The Sentries got hit as well, although maybe a little late. And a lot of the bio is stuck up on the ramp. More forces coming down from the one Sentry that has energy remaining to TY's army. Kind of takes the fight in 2 halves. Now we'll be able to come forward. There's one medivac that has a bunch of units inside of it. That isn't going to be dropping back down just yet. Finally will begin to unload. And if you could kill off these last couple of Archons and High Templar, that'd be great for him. Reinforcements coming through as well would mean that he will. TY had to really fight for this game, but it works out for him in the end. I mean, this fight here was awkward with that force field on that ramp. But obviously able to still make it work nonetheless. GG's by TY. He's going to be seeing him up 60 supply now. Pushing down this right side. EMP onto the Stalkers. Again, the bio keeps coming over. So that's taking quite a lot of damage. And we are going to be seeing the Stalkers taking a few more shots as well. So Stalkers taking a few more hits. We're going to see a couple of Zealots going down. TY will pick up game number 1. of this. Let me just tweet out that we're live again. Top right hand side, our red Terran, up by 1 in this series, is TY from Splice. And at the bottom left, our blue Protoss, and Goso crew is Classic. Gateway dropping down there and getting set to go, as we'll see the probe of Classic going to head out over to the left hand side. Off on a little bit of a scout here, as Classic going to be moving in towards the other right. Refinery, gas racks on the way from TY. A Cerulean Fall, a much smaller map than Parasite. And I tell you what, if TY was happy to go for a bit of a... I mean, it was a weird aggressive push, because it was more of a push rather than like being the 2-base super aggressive play to try and take down the natural and to win the game almost. This was a very aggressive push, which was instead designed to come through and to take down the 3rd base while transitioning behind it. If we saw an attack here on Cerulean Fall that was similar, I'd imagine it would be more of the let's try and kill you straight up sort of variant, rather than trying to transition through, because again, smaller map allows you to be much more aggressive and so on. So definitely worth checking out. As you do see the probe and take a little bit of damage from this SCV, and that's going to be seeing the little bit of a block on the command center here for just a few moments. So just a probe being a little bit of a pesky one for the last few moments here, as we can see the orbital finishing up, dropping down a mule. We are going to be seeing this getting set to go. Gateway going to get chrono boosted, the Adept on the way out. It's going to be popping in a few moments time. Next is about halfway done here from Classic, so his expansion pretty regular, as the factory is coming into play as well. Second gas gets started up. Reaper going to be coming around into the middle. Again, that Reaper pulling back, as the Adept actually will come across the map. A Stargate opening here from Classic for game 2. Obviously we saw the Stargate last game, but didn't really do all too much. I feel like it was a pretty good defense by TY, and even when he had units out of position on the map attacking, he still had a couple units ready for the Oracle counter. So not really major work was lost to the Oracle throughout the course of the first game. As we'll see, the SCV goes down there. The Adept was shading up the ramp, but we'll just hold this high ground, as again that natural CC is not going to be able to keep on building here. So slowing that down just a little bit. And again, the Stargate about to complete from Classic as well. So again, the Stargate finished up. That will actually rally towards the front, as the Oracle going to get chrono boosted out. Top left side, Reaper just hanging around as well, and just going to be seeing the Hellion a good little bit of damage to that Adept there. A couple of Marines dealing some shots too. And we are going to be seeing the Orbital Command is starting up. SCV is getting all the way back into the main, as you see the Wooded Mine going to burrow just behind the depot. The Reaper from TY heading down towards the bottom left. And again, the Adept and the 2 Stalkers here from Classic are going to be able to work their way through the natural expansion. Reaper coming all the way down to the bottom. As we'll see, that factory jumps onto a tech lab. Cyclone on the way out. This Rax jumps onto a tech lab as well. If this pressure continues, at least TY didn't have to cancel the orbital or anything, as we see a Stalker on the way out here too. But the Reaper into the main, we'll see the Oracle coming up, but there's already one Oracle heading into the main base. That's where the Cyclone is kind of needed, but it's not ready just yet. And a couple of these lower health SCVs from the previous attack, well, they're very easily targeted down, although the Oracle will stay very stationary to the back of the mineral line here. I mean, Cyclone about to pop, and I think Classic should know this. Oh, but he runs into the Widow Mine, which I feel like he should have known about it as well, because he's been very cautious about going up the ramp with his other units. So I feel like he maybe should have known a little bit about that, as we'll see the Cyclone locks on, and the Stalker will be chased away. Stalker picked off there. Again, that orbital about to drop down on the natural. Twilight Council Forge on the way up. Stimpack getting started from TY as well. Factory will build up a reactor. This Wooded Mine in the back is about to finish up too. And that'll come back online ready to go, as we have the Oracle going to be arriving in the main base in the next couple moments as well. So Oracle coming up in towards the main. Resonating Glaives in the +1, so a bit of a more aggressive setup here from Classic than what you might usually see. That Resonating Glaives being chrono boosted out, +1 attack coming in on the Forge as well. So getting that set up to go, as we're going to be seeing a couple of extra gateways dropping down. Definitely feels very aggressive, doesn't it? Third Nexus on the way up, but not currently making probes to begin saturating that right away. That's a lot of gateways, man. 8 gates of Resonating Glaives. It's going to be a lot of Adepts. TY building up a tank or so. I mean, a if he's going to end up being at home, he really is still going to need a bunker. He's still going to need the tank behind it. A wall-off would be amazing, but it's unlikely he's going to commit to a full wall-off on a whim. So unless he really figures out what's going on here. As it stands, he's moving out onto the map. His first 2 medivacs at least are going to be with him, so he can lift up and get away if needed. He finds a probe that's coming across. Now that's a little bit of a sign. There is no robo facility in this build order, so there is no warp prism. So seeing the probe might be a bit like, well, what are you doing out on the map at this stage of the game? Anyways, obviously the medivacs in towards the main base. Classic not moving across the map yet. He does start up some probes, so he does begin saturation of the third now. So getting that started. As we see, the Marine's going to unload right in the corner of the main. So actually, Classic will not see this right away, and this will be a good opportunity to stem right in and shut down a pylon, powering 3 of these gates. As we'll just go for that. The Forge will finish its +1 upgrade, though. The Resonating Glaives just finished as well, so targeting down the Twilight will not actually do that much here, apart from force a rebuild a little bit later. This drop keeps the army of the Frost player at home as well. I mean, there was Twilight rebuilt right away, so it does slow down that tech choice there. And again, it slows down any sort of push that might have been looking to come across the map. 3 racks factory starport at the moment, as TY not looking to move in towards the 3rd CC just yet at all. The Depths of Classic continue to move towards the upper right-hand side of the map. And they are going to be able to, well, not too much. TY obviously saw the Adept camp before, so he did set up a Warlock. Again, Warlock's going to help a lot, especially with a couple of Widow Mines here. The tank's there too. One Adept leaves the charge, but gets killed off instantly, so backing away. Classic will not break through this position, and TY holds, but he's already 20 workers down, so it's not like he's in a great spot anyways, although the refill of units, well, there is still Marine stimming in towards the natural. Stalkers here coming down the ramp as well. They don't have Blink, of course, because that Twilight was killed before anything could be built after the Resonating Glaives. And again, it's rebuilt now, but isn't really back in place still just yet. Another Medivac lifts up, coming back up the right side. The single Marine coming back up through the center. Those Marines unloading from TY. And they go to sim forwards and again try and pick off this Stalker once more. Picks that off straight away, and again the Stalkers of Classic able to push those Medivacs away very, very easily. Warp Prism coming up from Classic here is going to be finishing in just a moment. So again, that Warp Prism finished up. We see a Stasis Ward actually catching the single Marine there as well. I'll see why. A bit of a larger push right now as you see the Oracle goes down. Man, the Oracles are not having much luck today at all. First Oracle died to that mine that it flew into, and that Oracle dies to the Marines. Again, where the mines are set and ready to go off here perhaps, as the Adepts trying to kite in and out. Revelation is good for that, so actually really nice. Gets rid of all those Widow Mines in the front line. Widow Mines are an absolutely critical part of this army here, especially against the Adepts. You need some sort of splash damage against. A couple tanks will siege up as well, and they can just slowly edge forwards here and get a few shots off. This would be great. Still waiting on that Blink upgrade. There's an empty Medivac sits in the main. And Blink is so important against the tanks. Well, we'll get a couple of shots already. This army is very reluctant to move forwards, as the few Marauders will just pick up 3 damage because of that. Lifts up and drops back down behind the force fields. One tank going to siege, pushing forwards now. Going to siege a little bit further forwards on the ramp. One tank getting set to go. We're going to be seeing the Adepts ready to go in a moment as well, perhaps. 2 more Marines stemming forwards, and here we go. Adepts in towards this army. Are they going to commit, or are they not? The Mortal over there is okay. The Adepts do commit. First Widow Mine goes off. The second Widow Mine, I think, got killed. The other Widow Mines are so far back. As TY takes that as a chance to go up the ramp, but again, I think that you need to make use of those Widow Mines. He has 6 Widow Mines that are just so far away, they're not doing anything in this engagement. Now, they could do quite a bit. The Observer's not quite in location. There's no immediate way to really shut that down. He moves him forwards a bit now. And I was going to see the Adepts want to try and threaten the army by shading on top of it. Storm on the way. If you can get Storm up here, you probably win this game as Classic, I'd imagine. But you have to survive until that Storm is ready to go. And TY's army is still pressing through. Across the map, though, Adepts are starting to pick off the SCVs, so TY's worker count is dropping quite drastically. Jumps on an Immortal, though. Adepts in the front line going down, and now some Liberators to back this up as well. And suddenly TY has position on the third base. Probes are going to have to start pulling into this as well. Another Widowmine moves up the ramp, and again, we're just missing the ways of getting rid of those Widowmines very easily and without kind of taking so much damage. Stalkers will blink on towards the Liberators, but now they've blinked in, and the Bio will be able to clean up. And as the Bio cleans up, TY is just about able to make this attack work. The Immortal goes down. The extra Adepts warping in will not be enough now, will not be fast enough. There's still Adepts in the natural base and main running around. Reinforcements of TY will stop them, though. There's still a few more. This Warp Prism has been a hell of an annoyance, but losing the third is obviously a huge issue, as we'll see the Marines try to chase him in for the Warp Prism, and will probably get it with units inside. And Classic might just GG then and there. Honestly, I mean, I would. He won't. It's a very important match, and obviously it's a close game. He dealt a lot of damage, but losing the third, and with the Bio army reinforcing, I don't see what you do. I mean, right now, yes, okay, maybe you can hold on, but as soon as reinforcements arrive, it's going to be a completely different situation. And I mean absolutely, completely different. That's going to be seen the army coming across here from TY. Bio just pressing forwards. So you see the Bio, a couple force fields are dropping down, and again the Adepts, the Immortal, sitting nicely there. Liberator going to see a jump to press in towards the natural. Robo facility going to go down. So no more Immortals, and the one Immortal that just popped lost its barrier and shields to a Liberator shot, as TY just forces his way forwards. Again, Bio going to keep on fighting. Adepts taking a lot of damage with the mines. Are getting some good shots off. Immortals dropping down, and again, Classic has absolutely nothing left to defend this army of TY. That's GG, and TY will take the 2-0 lead. Automaton for our third map. TY is one map away, the 2017 Katowice champion. One map away from qualifying to Katowice this year. On the left-hand side, the red Terran player from Splice. This is TY. Up against the blue Protoss player in the top right-hand side of the map from Gosu Crew, we have got Classic. So game 3 of this best of 5 as we get this going. Going to be seeing a probe coming across from Classic to get a little bit of a scout here to begin with. So getting a little bit of a scout off right now. Gateway dropping down in the main base, and the probe going to be able to throw down the Nexus in the next couple of moments. So probe getting ready to Nexus up as we see the Cyber Core dropping in the back of the main, and just going to be seeing the Reaper on the way out from TY here as well. So just gets that going, gets that started, and then the Cyber Core is about halfway done at the moment as the SCV will finish up a factory in the corner as well. Again, TY, a little bit of a mind game. Classic actually didn't check the corner. Oh my god, are you kidding me, Classic? No way, that's absolutely crazy. He misses the racks in the main base. And so now he's obviously going to think it's a bit of a proxy, or at least the Reaper's proxy. I mean, you don't really know, right? He's checking nearby and he doesn't see it, so he's got to think, like, well, where on earth is it? I guess in a moment or so the Reaper will reveal itself, or maybe not, because the Reaper misses the probe. Classic is going to be a little bit confused. It's a weird set of things which has happened here. This Reaper is trying to find the probe to kill it off, but isn't quite able to make it happen just yet, as we do have the Reaper coming across towards the right-hand side. Probe is going to be able to come through the top side. On the bottom right, a starport is getting started as well, so that's getting going as this probe is finally going to find the Reaper. And again, you don't really know where that Reaper came from, though, or where it's been, or where the barracks is, right? So Classic is still a little bit in the dark here in these very early stages. So that definitely is a little bit of a lack of info for him, unfortunately. And as we do see the Reaper up into the main base, though, at least is going to be able to try and chase down another probe or so. Go for one that's already in the mineral line. It's going to be a bit further away from that Stalker, as the Reaper Seems to just commit in here, but miss targets the probe initially. Actually, still gets the kill, but was a little bit messy as it's a proxied starport. So fast Liberator on the way out. The Adept over here is buying some time when the CC is not building. Kills off the SCV. And the Hellions able to fight it off, but only just. Obviously, you have to be careful micro in those. The Adept with bonus damage to light does pretty well against those Hellions for the most part, as the CC building up at the moment. And again, the Adept just shading out up to the top left-hand side as the Warp Prism is on its way in from the Robo facilities. Again, that Warp Prism up, couple of Stalkers setting over towards the natural, and the Hellions are going to move across here. I guess the idea being as the Liberator comes and sieges the main, the Hellions will then try and make their dive through into the natural. Sometimes the Hellions, the probes will pull to the naturals just so they kind of continue mining a bit as well. So this combination could be pretty sick as the Stalkers, well, they're actually going to come in initially, so the Hellions actually make themselves known. They'll pull units out of the way. Oh, nice lift up on the Prism of the probes. But they'll kind of take the Stalkers into the natural, so the Liberator in the main base can deal some damage. Unsiege just now as the Adept on the natural of the Terran player, though, will get the SCV once again here. And that's enough for Hellions to get a kill or two on probes. I'm going to dive up into the main base as well. Oh my god, missed targets. And so 3 Hellions remain alive, which is enough to one-shot workers, and still doesn't get that low health Hellion. Just gets it in the end here. I love the fact the Liberator survives, though. That's really nice. Oftentimes that would die in this attack as TY deals some insane early game damage. First 5 minutes, and he is up 27 workers to the 20. So a 7-worker lead in a matchup where Protoss is expected to take the worker advantage early on. I mean, there's a siege tank available now. I mean, this counterattack from Classic, yes, is a bit scary, but there's a tank, and look how safe TY is. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to defend up on my main. I am happy to know that I've done a lot of damage already here, and I know that if I just stay very safe, I should not really have any issues. He's going to put his next tank further forwards. Actually unsieges this one and probably brings it a bit further forwards too. His natural will be in trouble, but then he will siege up on the natural of his opponent, and already Classic responded to that, though. So Classic doing a good job instantly replying to that Liberator placement. Again, the tank here is covering the front of the natural, though, so it's kind of tough to get out of this position, I guess. That's Classic, as TY will just pull away. A Banshee has now been made, but no cloak on it. So just going for cloakless Banshees for tanks and marine production. He's obviously looking for a very aggressive push here, TY, in the follow-up. Just tanky marine. We can call it like tankyrine or something. Tankyrine. Or bankrine, I don't know. Make some mashup of words, guys. And it's becoming a bit of a popular push. Did the first Banshee go down? No, it kept it alive. I mean, again, it's not really about picking off workers. It's about dealing damage to the army. And as this army of the Protoss player is pushed back, the Observer sees the starport bottom right, by the way. Going to send a few units over to deal with that. So these Banshees do commit in, and they get a couple of probes. Again, nicely done with that Banshee surviving. Really good job. That's Adepts and a couple of Stalkers to fight onto that starport. Actually going to move away from the tech lab here. Rax will still make Marines. Nope, they decide to go to the tech lab. I thought so. I mean, it made a lot more sense, right? As you see the starport going to be denied, but the Raven gets out. Will the Raven get away? I think it will get away to the bottom right corner if it wants to. I mean, starport will have to be rebuilt. That will just go down. Honestly, we really could see a bit of a push kicking off. Don't think TY wants to go for it, though. He's just going to sit back instead. Maybe afraid of the fact that Classic did make a lot of units early to try and, stay alive here and then to counterattack. And so he hasn't teched up super quickly, taking the third base, etc. And so the idea of pushing with Marine Tank and Banshee isn't really that essential for the Terran player, because he's actually in a perfectly fine position. One Banshee still alive, loops around to the natural, still no Cloakman, and still won't do much here with Stalkers in position. The other Banshee went home to get repaired, and the Raven makes it home too. I mean, this is still a hell of a force out of our Terran player, but it's going to be even scarier when you think about the fact that Stimpack and other upgrades could be finishing up here shortly as well to get this going also. So that is what we're heading towards at the moment, as we're going to be seeing these Stalkers and an Adept unloading in the back of this main base. Banshee comes through, the unit's going to have to lift the Prism. Just getting away up there, as we do see the Stalkers and the Zell actually going to knock down these gold rocks. So wants to take the gold base. Obviously doesn't care about his 56 gas, wants to play a very gate-heavy style, doesn't even take gas through here. And that's where the Adept Glaives is obviously going to come in. So very gateway-heavy, and that's going to allow him to really play with the gold base here. I mean, it really kind of suits his style, but it is very all-in. It doesn't really have a longevity to it, because you're never going to get the gas income that you need if you want to play a longer game. So it's really building up for one huge attack more so than anything else. I have to say, with one huge attack, TY looks really well set up, right? Good amount of tanks here. He's got the Banshee for firepower. He's got his Marine Can, going to have upgrades on those. I don't know what you actually do against TY if in this situation, because I don't feel Macrons are the right call either, or like trying to tech up. I think Classic's just taking way too much early game damage, and he really did take way too much early game damage as well. Like, way too much. And as the Adept, the two Stalkers, they're going to come down the right side of the map. I mean, the game's not over yet, but it's not looking good. Reminder that if you lose here, you will end up in the lower bracket qualifying match to play one of the remaining other 6 players. Gumiho versus Stat started up not long ago. Winner of that plays Dia. SOS versus Zest coming through. Winner of that plays against Solar. So that's all coming up as we see. The lower bracket action will continue straight after this classic TY game. TY actually sees the gold base mining, so he's aware of the fact that his opponent is getting that gold base income, and again, does give you that bit of a boost. I'm not sure if we don't actually have game hard on, unfortunately, so I can't show you the graphs, but the income will go up quite a lot, and you can see here Classic's mineral income 2.5k to 1.8. Obviously TY doesn't have a third base at all just yet, so I don't think he's aware of this army on the bottom side, so he might be a bit out of position. He has a bit of a wall off here, has a little bit of an arrow pointing around. And he's going to see this now as he's dropped in the main base too. I mean, this army's going to come back, and I guess in a way it's going to be a bit weird because it's going to end up surrounding or kind of backing it into a corner. Those medivacs load up, going to go towards the gold base. Now, honestly, I kind of like this, I think, for TY because, I mean, he loads these depots, he can just lift this for orbital. Oh my god, don't lose the orbital though. I mean, there's only a couple of Stalkers here. The anti-armor missile is going to be huge on Adepts. Adepts are meant to be very tanky, but with no army on them, they are going to melt. So that goes down. The gold base is going to be saved by a couple of warpins, but obviously TY's army now is at a huge advantage and should be able to just go across the map, push in, and get a lot done. Two medivacs just still healing up this Marauder. You see the Adepts in a little bit of trouble, picks off one of them there. Probes wanted to come in, but decide not to either. And as again, we see this army of TY heading across towards the upper right side of the map. Looking to keep on pressing in, man. Looking to keep on pressing in, as we do see a couple of Adepts unloading behind the mineral line and some Marines able to come through and do a decent job of picking away at those. Again, that prism loads up and will end up running away over towards the right side. Again, TY's army is good though. I mean, finish up this third base, etc. The wall prism is obviously annoying. And TY gets a couple of libs out. Honestly, he can just go across the map. There is no reason not to. What I'm impressed about is, by the way, TY is kind of want to know what his hotkey setup is right now, because he has like a Banshee, he has libs, tanks, he has a Raven. All of these are units which are very particular about how you control them, and they all have their own different, you know, even for tanks you have to siege them up, right? So they all have like abilities to use on them. He's got Widow Mines as well. It's probably a part of why he leaves the tanks at home and isn't too bothered about it, because it becomes really ridiculously difficult to control all of those different units at the same time. A few probes on the gold base getting taken down. Really fast response again by Classic though. But now that gold base is probably going to die. The Adepts are going to shade forwards here. A couple of Widow Mines will power up, and they will get down, so they will get some good damage done. I mean, the Liberator picking up units. Classic realizes that this is GG. There's no real way out of this now, and